Prop 19, property taxes in California, what you need to know.
First thing to say is that Prop 19 is a change in law, but more accurately, it's a change in the California Constitution. And the reason that's so important is it means that the California legislature can't fix it. They can't change it. It's going to take another voter initiative to again change the California Constitution to get rid of or to modify the terms of Prop 19. Now, what does it do? In the minds of many, it guts Prop 13, the hallowed Prop 13 that became law by a voter initiative back in the 1970s. And of course, that rolled property taxes back to a very low level, 2% modest increases every year. Millions of Californians are now paying $5,000 or $10,000 in property taxes, while their next door neighbors might be paying quadruple that or even more because they purchased property more recently. So we have Prop 13 that rolled taxes back. The next thing that was so significant was another voter initiative, Prop 58. And Prop 58 did two things. First, it said that your residence can be passed along to your kids with no property tax increase. Doesn't matter if your kids live in the house, doesn't matter what the value is, the residence goes to the kids, no tax increase. It also said that another $1 million in assessed value, a rental, a vacation home, that can also be passed along to your kids without an increase in property taxes. And there are many $1, $2, $3 million vacation homes, for example, that have assessed values of like $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000. So properties were being passed along routinely without property tax increases. So Prop 19 guts all of that. So here's what it does. It has two treatments. There's one treatment for the residents where there's a bit of protection. There's been confusion about this. The San Jose Mercury published not one but two articles saying that if you have a kid and your kid lives in your home, there's no property tax increase. And that's not accurate. What is accurate is that if it's your residence and one of your kids makes the house her residence, then the first $1 million in reassessment is forgiven. It's partial protection for most properties here in the Bay Area. Now, in some parts of the state, many parts of the state, condominiums, the value is much less. So if a house is worth $1 million or $1.2 million, this protection will eliminate tax for the residents. But again, in our community, property values are just so large that that's not going to be complete protection. Now, we have a different treatment for property other than the resident. A vacation home, a rental, the duplex, whatever it is, zero protection from from property tax increases. So you have to be aware, you have to realize that this is on the horizon upon your passing, but it can be avoided.
Yeah, and I actually you made a really important point though. A lot of people in our community in the Silicon Valley and some of our clients in San Diego and West LA, the fact that Prop 19 only protects $1 million, again, you can take the assessed value at $1 million, and if your kids live there, that whole portion of the value of your home is protected from reassessment. In high-priced areas, that doesn't do much necessarily. Taxes still skyrocket, but a lot of California, that could be enough to protect the house. So I think it's very important for those of us in very high-priced housing communities to realize that what's true in these communities might not be so true in other parts of California or for people who own condos, that the Prop 19 protection may be enough. So if your child lives in the house, they can keep the same property taxes as you. So I think that's important. We're thinking about, what might happen with this law. Does it actually affect as many people in California as you might think? And it might be a lower percentage than you might think. It's not just about keeping low property taxes for the home if your kids live there or not, because we can take steps to protect those low taxes. You can talk to us. We have tools for it. But the home is more than that.
For 40, 50 years, really thought deeply about what a house is. What's their residence mean? So many folks think of it as its value. Oh, it's worth so much. I've made so much money on it. I really don't think that way. The home is the hearth. I mean, it's a little old-fashioned, but it's really true. It's the core of the family. For us, home births. My God, our kids were born at home.
That's true.
There's a real legacy.
Yeah, me and my two sisters all were born in the house that we grew up in. So the house is a lot more than just a place to live. It was literally where we were born.
Yeah, and that's why in many areas of our tax and public benefits law, the house is treated differently. There's some degree of protection if you sell your home from capital gains tax. In the context of eligibility for Medi-Cal, the home is exempt, the value doesn't count. So it's consistent with our culture and our values to treat the house differently. And yet, again, Prop 19 significantly erodes that, to the chagrin and shock of so many Californians. it's something to think through very, very deeply.
Francis Lepole, our tax guru, has developed some incredible solutions for families who plan ahead. And some of our videos and educational videos about Prop 19 have gotten a lot of traction. We've been seen by literally tens of thousands of Californians. So we get calls about this pretty regularly. We've helped many families to understand and plan for this, but we've also gotten calls that came too late. We've gotten calls from a few people who inherited a house from their parents 9 months before. They get these massive tax reassessment bills, these additional tax bills, and they call us saying, whoa, what happened here? I moved into my parents' house, and I just got a $25,000 property tax bill. Can you help me? And the sad thing is, in most cases, there's very little that we can do. Once taxes go up, they stay up, right? So we have to plan ahead if this is a concern. And I think it's important to understand, though, the forces at work and the different arguments, because certainly many in our client community think Prop 19 is horrible. They worked hard to build up assets, to own properties, and they're really upset that their kids might not be able to hold on to these properties. And we totally get that. They feel like the rug was pulled out from under them. But Prop 19 was passed by voters. So a lot of people, I think, rightfully say, well, voters didn't really understand Prop 19. That's why it passed. So if there's a chance to repeal it, it'll get repealed. We need to understand the forces at work and the arguments on both sides. And so I have friends around my age, some of whom are from California, where they hope to inherit mom and dad's house or a rental property, and they would love to keep low property taxes. They think Prop 19 is grossly unfair. It's their only chance to stay in the state of California because they can't afford much higher property taxes. But I have friends who moved to California from other places. They're not going to inherit anything, and they think Prop 19 is totally fair. They say, well, why should my friend who just inherited a rental property pay much lower property taxes than me if I work hard and buy a new rental property? And that's where attacks on Prop 13 are coming from as well. So those same attacks apply here, where people say, why should wealthy people who inherit properties get low property taxes versus someone who buys it more recently? And we understand that argument. It's whatever your point of view, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Do you think Prop 19 is fair? Or do you think it's not fair? If it does go up for a vote for repeal, I would bet that the Realtors Association, which really put a lot of money into passing this in the first place, would probably continue to fight for that. Public employees unions would probably fight to keep it law because it's going to lead to billions of dollars in extra revenue for the state of California. Whether you think that's good or not, it's going to be a lot of money over time for the state. So planning for Prop 19 and keeping taxes low. If you have properties, don't wait on California voters to bail you out on something making the ballot and getting passed. Don't wait on Congress to bail you out. That is almost the definition of insanity, waiting for third parties to bail you out. Let's control what we can control. And we do have tools available. Francis Lepole, our tax guru, has developed several strategies, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. But he's developed several strategies we've used for many, many families to protect a rental for the next generation, or to protect the home for the next generation, keeping property taxes low while getting optimal tax treatment in other areas. We're especially sensitive to this if you have a child with special needs. And we have a lot of clients who they want to buy a duplex, or maybe they have one. They bought it literally with the idea of, my child with special needs can live in one unit, they can rent out the other to support their needs. If property taxes spike after they're gone, maybe that no longer will work. There might not be enough to support their child with special needs. So if you have a child on the autism spectrum or with a disability, this is especially crucial. The stakes couldn't be higher. Rental properties, we talked about the home. You can protect $1 million in assessed value from a reassessment. $1 million in fair market value beyond the assessed value can be protected from a reassessment if your child lives there. Rental properties, there are zero protections unless we plan ahead. Full reassessment. For a $2 million property with a $200,000 assessed value, the difference over 20 years can be $480,000 in property taxes. Over 30 years, almost over $800,000 in property taxes. If you have a child with special needs, that is $800,000 over their lifetime that is going to the state government rather than to support your child if you don't plan ahead, if you have a low assessed value property. So imagine a future where you plan ahead and we can hold on to the family home for multiple generations, or rentals for multiple generations. And we have developed solutions. You can see our other videos. We have the Gilfix and the Lepole Dynasty LLC. It's a different solution for every different family, but we have ways where we can keep property taxes low for future generations, and we can do it while keeping in mind capital gains tax issues, estate tax issues. You want to get that stepped up basis, ideally, when you pass away. So capital gains taxes are wiped away, but there are ways that we can protect properties for multiple generations if we plan ahead. I hope you got a lot out of this. Share this with someone in your family who needs to see this, or a friend who needs to see this. We'd love to stay connected with you, and we love to spread the word. We want to empower you with this educational information. Go to our website, gilfix.com/newsletter. Join our mailing list if you haven't. Subscribe to our Gilfix Law YouTube channel. We'd love to stay in touch with you. And if you'd like to set a meeting with us, you can, of course, easily do that by contacting us. You can fill in a Google Sheet if you want to give us information about your properties. You can contact us at gilfix.com. So as my mom likes to say, I hope everybody's staying safe, sane, and healthy. And I hope you got a lot out of this. Take care.